All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we are taking a really candid interview with a mining engineer named Masoud Shahriari and boiling it down into a super practical guide. So if you've ever even thought about a career in mineral extraction, this is for you.
So right off the bat, he kicks things off with this pretty surprising admission. I got into mining by chance. I mean, this isn't one of those stories about a lifelong dream, right? It's about accidentally falling into a super demanding field and somehow finding success. And that right there tells you so much about what it really takes to make it.
So here's how we've laid it all out for you. We'll start with the accidental engineer's path, then we'll look inside mineral extraction. After that, we'll cover the jump from graduate to specialist, check out why the future is automated, and wrap it all up with some final advice for aspirants. Let's get into it.
Okay, first up, the accidental engineer's path. You know, his whole journey started, believe it or not, with just a random choice on a university application, not some deep-seated passion. Let's see how that played out.
Now take a look at this timeline. What's really fascinating here is that little detail in 2021. He started his first job 10 days before finishing his military service. He actually calls it a negative 10-day gap. I mean, think about that. That one tiny detail just screams how incredibly strong the job market for mining engineers was back then, and frankly still is.
All right, Section 2, Inside Mineral Extraction. So, okay, he stumbled into this field. But what did he find once he was in? You know, what is this profession really about once you get past all the stereotypes? Well, for starters, it is so much more than just digging big holes. Masoud really stresses this point. He says the most compelling part of the job, the real engineering challenge, is basically a giant economic puzzle. The question is always, how do you design and optimize every single plan to make a truly massive and complex operation actually profitable?
And then there's this, the sheer mind-boggling scale of it all. This quote just captures it perfectly. That feeling of being totally dwarfed by the operation, he says it's almost suffocating. And that feeling, that mix of intimidation and total fascination, that's something you just have to get used to.
Moving on to Section 3, from graduate to specialist. This is maybe the most crucial part. How do you actually make that leap from university life, from all the theory, to a real professional career? What do employers really look for? I mean, this is the million-dollar question for any graduate, right? Do they care about your grades, the name of your university, how well you know all the formulas? Well, according to Masoud, who's now on the other side of the table conducting these interviews, the answer is, well, it's not that simple. And this really breaks it down. Look, the stuff on the left, your grades, your theoretical knowledge, that's what gets your foot in the door. That gets you the interview. But it's the stuff on the right, the soft skills, like being adaptable, communicating well, being persistent. That's what actually lands you the job and makes a company want to invest in you for the long haul.
So he tells this story about his very first day. A contractor just looks at him and says something like, "Oh, great, they brought in a kid to tell us what to do." You're going to face that. So how do you beat it? Well, this is basically the playbook. You have to acknowledge the skepticism, be patient, argue with logic, and just consistently, day after day, demonstrate your value. That's how you win them over.
Okay, on to our fourth section. The future is automated. Because let's be clear, this industry does not stand still. It's going through a huge technological shift, and anyone coming into it has to be ready for what's next.
And he's super clear about this. He says, whether we want it or not, this is happening. The future is all about AI, autonomous vehicles, advanced algorithms, you name it. It's no longer enough to just be a mining engineer. You have to be an engineer who can code, who understands AI, who can work with all these different disciplines. Being a one-trick pony, that's just not going to cut it anymore.
Which brings us to our last section, final advice for aspirants. This is the unvarnished truth. After everything he's been through, what's the one thing he'd tell someone who's just starting out thinking about this career? Okay, so here's the reality check, the good and the bad. The money? It's really good. I mean, very competitive salaries right out of the gate, and the job market is hot. But that comes with some serious trade-offs. You're looking at a demanding lifestyle. We're talking 20, 22-day shifts away from your family. And it's a high-risk environment. Safety is everything, because things can and do go wrong.
And then he says this. His number one piece of advice is, first, don't study mining. I mean, what? That's got to be the most jarring thing to hear after all this, right? It seems to fly in the face of everything we've just talked about. So what on earth does he mean? Well, here's the punchline, the absolutely crucial context. What he's really saying is, don't study mining,
unless you are truly ready for the challenges and have done your homework. See, his point isn't to scare you away. It's a warning against doing what he did, stumbling into it by accident. He wants you to make a deliberate, informed choice.
So really, it all comes down to being intentional. You have to know exactly what you're signing up for. Research the lifestyle, not just the paycheck. Understand that you'll have to keep learning new things, like programming, and you have to develop those soft skills we talked about. The bottom line is simple. Don't be an accidental engineer.
Look, at the end of the day, a career in mining is tough. There's no way around it. It's going to demand a lot from you. But for the right person, the rewards and the challenges are just immense. So the real question we want to leave you with is this. Is this challenging field your hidden gem? Do you have what it takes to unearth its potential for yourself?